Yeah, I gotta edit my thumbnail. Hey, everybody. Who the heck's in? Is this working all right? Somebody, who's in here, man? Somebody liked it. Where are you? Are you here? Here we go. Lauren, how you doing, buddy? So the New York Rangers did a freaking deal that I don't even know why I didn't even pay attention to it. What a beautiful move. Frank Vetrano. What a awesome pickup for a fourth round pick. I think that was a perfect pickup for them. They don't need to add all that much. The guy's got a killer shot. And now, of course, all the speculation is going on the Giroux to Florida because they managed to get Vetrano. I just noticed it right now. I don't understand the Giroux to Florida thing. I'm not sure that, that's really what they need. But it might just be a move to give Tippett more playing time, to get Tippett back in the lineup again. It could be just as simple as that. Did you hear about that? Vetrano to... Now where did it go? I don't know why. I changed the... Oh, you have not? Okay. Well, the deal is... Rangers acquire Frank Vetrano for 2 fourth-round picks. Panthers will receive later of the 2 fourth-round... Oh, okay. Florida did not retain any salary in the trade. So Florida got rid of some salary. Vetrano was playing lower in the lineup. He was a healthy scratch a couple times. But he's got a killer shot. And he can... 3 years, 7.6. So it's 2.7 million per. $2.53 million cap hit for a guy who has a ability to be a 20-goal scorer. I don't. It's a salary dump, yeah, but I think the Rangers did well to give him a shot here. It's not that much of a risk, and they need a shooter, and that's really why it is. He does have a wicked shot. When he gets into the spots, I think he could end up surprising. Now he can play with take that Drayden Hunt spot, who probably is playing a little too high in the lineup. Apparently, Kako must not be coming back, and he's going to get a good shot there in New York to be able to show what he's got. You don't understand Guerin getting Jost? Jost has got more upside. Jost has just got more upside than Sturm. That's it. Well, and we've seen, look what they did with Hartman. We've seen over and over again them getting more out of guys. So their scouts must be saying, look, we think Jost has got, he was supposed to have much more offensive upside than he showed so far. Kind of buried in Colorado's lineup too. So Sturm is probably all what he's going to be. Hey, Hockey News Reports. Sturm is how you doing, buddy? Hockey News Reports and Hajin in the house. Woo! Awesome, man. Yeah, I kind of get it. I do like Sturm too, but I mean, Jost really does have more upside if you can get it out of him. And I think that's the big reason why they did that. Yeah, Ovi surpassed. Yeah, that was pretty cool. He's going to be surpassing all the records, especially for goal scoring. NHL Hockey News Reports. I'm kicking myself. I didn't think of that. Frank Vetrano is a good, cheap option for a team like the Rangers. Fourth rounder. I mean, his $2.5 million. He's been playing low on Florida's lineup, but look at Florida's lineup. Like, how are you going to get that? You don't have to be that bad of a player to not be able to play up in Florida's lineup. And I always thought when he was in Boston, like, he's got a killer shot. Killer shot. His overall game is, but for what the Rangers need, like I don't think they're gonna go for it. This is the kind of moves they're gonna do to fill some holes and kind of cross their fingers that they can get some luck and maybe win a round or two. I really think that's where they're at, and a move like this helps them now and later. So. Well, like I said, Sturm is, I mean, let me go back to that trade. I believe Sturm is up for a contract right away anyways, too, right? Yeah, like he was behind Duclair, Reinhardt, and Verhaeghe. You know, I mean, he's a good player. He's probably a 40 to 45 point guy. So, and we're going to see what he can be now with the Rangers. This is going to be great for him. I wouldn't even doubt if he requested the possibility if there was a trade out there. I got a funny feeling about Vetrano. I think he's got more of a shot than he gets credit for. I think he's a better player than he's got credit for so far in his career. And we may just see that in New York here. I have a feeling could be a sneaky good pickup. All right, let's look at the Minnesota trade. Hockey News Reports, what do you got to say, buddy? What do you got to say? Let's get that chat going down there, guys. Colorado. Colorado gets Sturm. That's what I wanted to check. Nico Sturm. Yeah, see, he's got a contract coming up, Nico Sturm. He's going to get a heck of a lot more than $725,000. And helping out Colorado means little this year because Minnesota ain't beating Colorado in a 7-game series this year. There's just no way. I mean, if they did, it would be absolutely bonkers. Let's put it that way. With their goaltending, like, let's face it, Minnesota is not in the stratosphere of Colorado this year. So they get a good young guy who's on, you know, Sturm is probably going to get third line money this year. Third line center money. He's probably going to get in the $3 to $3.5 million as a free agent, somewhere around there, from 725. So for Minnesota, I believe that Jost is not making that much, I don't think. I think this is Guerin accurately assessing his team. That's what I think this is. So he's getting $2 million till 2023 for 2 more years. So you're actually saving money in the long run with Jost, because Sturm is going to be a long-term. Sturm is going to be about $3 to $3.5 million. Minnesota probably wasn't going to sign him. They've got other young players coming up too. Maybe they would. But now they get Jost, a younger version of Sturm, with more upside than Sturm, for $2 million for the next 2 years. I think they did well. Yeah, he's a better player than Rask. And like I said, even if he ends up being just that energy guy that he is right now, he's one hell of a good energy guy. Like, they're going to love him in Minnesota. They're going to love him in Minnesota. So they give him a shot. He's also got, his next contract, he's still a restricted free agent. So they have they have leverage for his next contract as well. I don't mind the deal at all. I think it was smart. And he can play wing. Sturm was Sturm playing wing when he went out? Where does he? Yeah, Kings IR. Yeah, they're getting crushed. Where do they got Sturm playing? Well, right now they got him as a scratch. But I imagine he's going to go into the lineup. But Sturm is pretty much a center. He's not a winger, really. And with Jost, he'll play on the wing, and he plays well on the wing. So when they get guys to move up, they have options with Jost. I thought it was a great move. I thought it was a very good move. Hey, CL, how you doing, my friend? Yeah, LA has just devastated with injuries right now. And the sad part about it, it's not like they're, putting guys on the injury reserve because they don't plan on making the playoffs. They're right in the heart of it. These are real injuries. Really too bad to have them hit this when they were playing so well. And Gabriel Velarde comes up and he still can't produce, man. He had that one nice goal, but he has trouble producing at the NHL level. And really, I mean, Quinton Byfield, from what I've seen, to me, he still should be in the AHL. I think LA is going to be a quick out. Mata, Spence, Dursey, my gosh. Athanasiou, Arvidsson, Brandon Lemieux, Matt Roy, Doughty, Anderson, Edler, Walker. Both of those guys have been out for a while, but still. It's just really unfortunate. I don't know. I think he's good. I don't know if he's that good. I mean, he's 21 years old. Yeah, 42 points in 46 games for the Ontario Reign. I mean, those are good numbers for a 21-year-old, no doubt about it. He's from Australia too. I didn't know that. He's lived in Australia and Japan. That's an interesting dude. CL. So now CL. Yeah, Byfield needs more time, man. They really got to just put him down. They need more time. Kapari and yeah, and Velarde's playing well. Okay, I take your word for it. I haven't really been watching a lot of LA right now. I just noticed he's only got 1 goal in 9 games since he's been up, and you know they need him to produce offensively, but he could be getting lots of chances and they're just not going in. I guess I'm not sure, but I did Byfield. I did have a chance, and I mean his game is not progressed enough. He shouldn't be in the NHL yet. Oh, terrible. Terrible deal. You know what my answer is going to be on that, buddy. CL, the Risto deal. That's awful, man. They just they just keep on treading water like the ship keeps on sinking and they keep reaching for it's terrible. Yeah, it's I don't even know. I can't wrap my head around how bad it is in Philadelphia. It's so bad. And Atkinson has been playing well. I mean, we'll see what happens. That's all you got to do is just hope. In Philadelphia, it's just about hope. You hope that Ellis comes back and healthy. You hope that Carter Hart can continue playing the way he is. You know, it's just hope. You hope Risto can improve significantly very fast for the money that they're paying him. You hope you get a good return for Giroux. It's just, you hope they can start drafting. They should be called the Philadelphia Hopes. Really, it's just hope, 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 hope. And what are you hoping on? You're hoping on what? On something that hasn't shown to be, you know, hasn't shown to give you any confidence so far. You're hoping that something happens that you're not used to seeing happen in Philadelphia. That being draft picks coming up and knocking it out of the park. Now Farabee's been good. Making good free agent moves, not acting out of desperation, all that kind of stuff like that. Giordano was scratched tonight. Yeah, that'll suck the wind out of Seattle. I'm glad I took Tampa Bay there. Yeah, I've been hearing for Giordano. I've been hearing St. Louis, Boston. I don't know if he wants to go out east. I don't know what Giordano wants. Toronto, probably. Isn't he from the Toronto area? I think he's from Ontario, if I remember correctly. I think that's what he would ultimately want, is to go to Toronto, if in fact he is from the Toronto area. Chuck is, yeah, he's convinced that they're a couple moves away. Well, what else is he going to say? And he probably is telling himself that, yeah. And they could be, I suppose. I mean, any team could be a couple moves away if you hit on your moves, right? But really, it's hard to believe. Giordano is from. Yeah, he's from Toronto. I'm almost positive that's where he's going. Toronto Maple Leafs seems like the move to me. Probably not move Konechny, no. I'd love to know what. So let's take what Chuck Fletcher said according to CL, and they said that they're a couple moves away. Well, it all depends on what that injury was, that the rib injury that Campbell had. How much was that affecting? How much was that affecting Campbell? That'll be the big thing about the goaltending. But really, what goaltender is out there is going to change anything for you right now? Fleury apparently is going to stay till the end of the season. I think he wants to go to Pittsburgh or nothing. And he's basically said he's going to stay in Chicago till the end of the season. They've given him that right to do that option to do that, which they don't really have any option but otherwise because he's got a no trade clause. And, you know, why would he want to get traded to Pittsburgh and weaken that team when he can just wait and leave his family behind, except for to win a cup with Pittsburgh? But to me, it's Pittsburgh or nothing for Fleury. So if it's true, now I'm going to try to bring up Chuck Fletcher here. Chuck Fletcher quote. I'm going to try to bring up Chuck Fletcher quotes without throwing up in my mouth talking to you. Okay, deadline day quotes from Chuck Fletcher. We weren't looking to overhaul our team. When was this written? Well, that's 2020. What's the good of that? Where did you get these quotes? Chuck Fletcher, 2022 trade deadline. Doesn't really say, but anyways, wherever you found that CL, I'll trust you on it. I would say that if they think they're a couple moves away, then they're going to be adding, I guess. Yeah, Provorov. Okay, so basically what you're going to do, let's say they go Provorov, okay? Provorov maybe is unhappy there, which I don't blame him. Let's say you go Provorov. Where are you hearing this? Now, if you're going to go Provorov, that's a big name, okay? The worry here, of course, is that they're selling low. I got to get rid of some stuff in my window here. The worry here is they're selling low. But now Provorov's going to get a big return. What do you want to do by trading Provorov? That's the question I want to know. What is it that they are trying to accomplish if they trade Provorov? First of all, you're selling low right now. He had a bad year. So now, if I'm Chuck Fletcher or somebody, I can understand the idea of trading Provorov, because what they're doing then is they're trying to have a deep team. I would have to think. You got York coming up. Hopefully Ellis comes back. But I like anytime we talk about Philadelphia, you think of, okay, trade Provorov. Why? What direction are you going? Does anybody even have a clue? Is that a rebuild? No. Is that a get better now? Maybe. I mean, it would be one hell of a weird trade. I don't know exactly what it accomplishes to trade Provorov, except that maybe Provorov wants to be traded. Are you going to get another defenseman back? Because you need defense. If you trade Provorov, you definitely need defense. So now you're looking at some sort of defenseman, maybe a forward and a center. So you're looking at gaining depth somehow. What would I want back for Provorov? It's such a weird trade. It's such a weird trade. I mean, the Detroit Red Wings, let's just say that. I mean, they would probably be interested in Provi, for sure. So you get like Philip Peronic, if they're willing to do that. I don't know I mean, Philip Peronic's having a great year. You might not even be able to get that. Like Zadina, you don't want that. Are you going to take players like that are having trouble in other organizations? I don't know if you're ever going to be able to get the value out of Provorov that you need to be better as a team. That's the bad thing. I'm just not sure you're going to be able to get the value out of Provorov that you need to be a better team. I really scratching my head trying to figure, like I would be scratching my head trying to figure out how they could get decent enough value that they could either become a better team or a deeper team or what have you. Oh, that's Edmonton being Edmonton. Bad defense, bad goaltending, or no team is ever out of it when they're playing Edmonton. A number one center? I'm not sure that's... Who's going to give up a number one center for Provorov right now? Nobody. Bounce something off me here. What do you think? Oh, Jay, 5. Eichel, man. That upset the apple cart really bad when they brought Eichel in. All the injuries, of course, but there's also something amiss there. They don't have the pushback that they had before. And like I said, this is only rumors. Hey, how you doing, buddy? It's Sports Fanatic News and Jay Punsalan in the house. We were talking about it, and Lauren in the chat gets a Pearlo badge. He must have had his Pearlo ring on when he came by. He said he called it. He called it that when Eichel was gonna upset the apple cart there in Vegas. I mean, I'm not saying that the rumors are true, like Don Cherry would say. I'm not saying, I'm just saying that there was talk in Buffalo about Eichel being kind of a jerk and that it caused problems in the room and he wasn't a good leader. And I'm not saying that's not true, but what I am saying is, if it was true, this is exactly what it would look like. This is exactly what it looked like. Vegas has no pushback at all right now. Before Eichel was there, they had injuries, but they played with heart. They're playing with no heart right now. And, I mean, goaltending, too, is not having Lehner and Brossoit. It's just really tough there right now. You're fine with losing a first, Provorov, and other pieces for a bona fide #1 center. Okay, what would the Philadelphia Flyers look like if you did something like that? I still say Claude Giroux is pretty much a bona fide #1. My gosh, Morgan Frost is the top line left winger right now. Holy crap. Who do we got out? Lawton's out. Bring Couturier back. So Provorov is your top left defenseman. I don't even think he's playing all that bad, to tell you the honest truth. It's just I think it's a stupid trade. And it's just like one of those situations where, again, just desperation move after desperation move. So if you lose Provorov, Sanheim becomes your top line left winger, left defenseman. When Ellis comes back, we assume Ellis comes back and he's healthy. He plays with Sanheim. Now you're putting a lot on York to play right away. Who's your left defenseman? Who's going to play second D? Like Zamula? They trade Provorov, they got nothing, dude. They got nothing. Keith, no. They got no other left defenseman. I don't know, man. Well, I mean, if you're going to trade Provorov, I mean, okay, so you trade Provorov. Now you're going to have to go get a left defenseman, right? You got to go on the market for a left defenseman. So you're trading from an area of weakness, which is never good. They need to get a left defenseman. But let's take a first round pick, a left Provorov, and other pieces to get a #1 center. Who? JT Miller? You're going to go JT Miller maybe in the offseason? I mean, I'm sure Vancouver would be interested in a Provorov. So let's say you pull out JT Miller, who's on a decent contract for next year, and then you're going to have to sign him large after that. Then they're going to have to go get defensemen, either on by free agency or they're going to need more defensemen if they do that deal. They would have to find more defensemen. So they would probably have to take one of the assets that they got. The only thing they need to stay in the playoff race, I believe, is Stone to come back and get some injuries back. And then chemistry. There was going to be chemistry issues. I honestly don't think they made that Eichel move thinking that they were going to be. That wasn't for this year. Next year's their big year. Next year is Vegas's big year. They got to produce next year. I don't even think Philadelphia has all that much for kids. Although it's good that Bobby Brink is up for the Hobie Baker this year. How many points does he have in college this year? But I don't know. Oh man, I don't know how many times I can say I don't know when I'm saying Philadelphia. I really don't know. The only logical move to me is to actually rebuild this team, but they're not going to do it. So I think they're just going to keep on grasping at straws and making Ristolainen type moves. That, you know, you look at your competition, man. Carolina, Florida, Tampa Bay. Go get a number one center, as you call it. They don't grow on trees. First, I'm going to look at Bobby Brink, and then I'm going to see like what number one center. Number one centers are called number ones because they're very hard to find. Usually, you got to draft them. Going out and trading for a number one center is pretty much next to impossible. Especially when you've already got Couturier there. Oh, 55 points in 36 games for him. That's pretty solid. That's a big jump in production. Now, how old is he? 20. That's pretty good. That's pretty big jump in production. That's a lot of assists, but 5'10", 178. Now, I had him like a Vinny Hinostroza type guy, but I might have to put him a little higher than that. That's really good production. That's more production than I thought they were going to get out of Bobby Brink. So that changes things a little bit. I'm not sure. Look that up for me and tell me if Vegas has ever done that. Yeah, you got guys that can fill in spots. That's what I mean, but that's still not great. And I mean, every franchise, if you will tell you that if they're in their minors, they look great. But it doesn't mean that translates to the NHL. They don't have many difference makers. They're not deep in prospects for a team that is not going to rebuild and is basically a bubble team. They are very poor prospect-wise. Well, Goudreau's not a center. Oh. You don't even have like a top premier second line centers and stuff like that. Allison will be cool. Getting Allison would be, or we don't even have, Allison will be all right. But okay, let's look at where a number one center could come from. If they were thinking about a number one center, they probably should have been a little deeper into Eichel. But like the Winnipeg Jets might actually be available. Oh yeah, is it the first time? Wow. Yeah, it's gonna happen. You might as well get a little taste of how it's gonna be a couple of years from now, Jay. Get a little taste for how it's gonna be a couple of years from now. Because a couple of years from now, Vegas is gonna suck for a very long time, more than likely. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. You guys can't hear me very well. How's that? Is that better? My mic. How is it now? Is that better? But I mean, where are you going to find a number one center? I mean, they don't grow on trees, man. Provorov Plus, I'm not sure that's going to get you a number one center. No, it's. My mic is not unplugged. My mic isn't. My mic's not unplugged. It's working for you now? Okay, good. Let's see. Hopefully it is for everybody. Is that better? Okay, cool. All right. You want to get Tavares at 11.5 million? They might even consider that. I don't know. Be a difficult trade for Toronto because they basically begged, borrowed, and stole him from New York Islanders. They told him every story in the land for him to go there. They would look really bad if they traded him. Do you think on the open market, you think Vincent Trocheck is a number one center? This will be a second organization. It doesn't sound like Florida. It doesn't sound like Carolina is going to sign him, and that's probably because he wants a hell of a lot of money. So if you did what trade? Seattle, like Yanni Gord. I just don't see where the number one center is even available, even if you try. That's my problem. Even if you wanted to, you got a Provorov, you got a first round pick, all of that. I don't see where the number one center is. I like Tavares, but at 11.5, at his age. But I mean, that's what you're looking at to get a number one center. Jonathan Toews from Chicago. Is he even a number one anymore? I don't think so. I just don't see it out there, my friend. You could say you want a number one center, but there's nobody there out there that I see that you can grab that's number one center worthy that you could grab. The only thing I could think of is if New Jersey decided to fade on Nico Hischier or something like that. And even that's borderline. Just don't see it. Now maybe you could get No, that's what I'm afraid. That's what I think's going to happen. CL came on and said that Philadelphia believes that they're just a couple moves away from being a contender. Well, no. And if that's what they're going to do, those are moves that you do when you're a contender. I agree. But if you aren't a contender and you're trying to become a contender, I mean, they're not even close to a contender. And Chuck Fletcher thinks that they are. That is the problem. They're setting themselves up to be a bubble team. They're setting themselves up to be a bubble team for however long, if they make the playoffs at all. I just see no option, even if you want to give a pro rop or whatever. Okay. What team you want to talk about now, boys and girls? As far as Vegas is concerned, I thought that they were probably not going to be really truly a playoff contender until next year. After that, what is I'll tell you what, I would love to have Jake McCabe. If they're going to rebuild, though, that would be a guy they could get a first plus for. Let's look up at Chicago here. Oh, he's from Wisconsin, too. 7-team no trade list. That's not bad. How old is he? Man, it's hard to get rid of a guy like McCabe. His analytics are absolutely unbelievable. He'll probably get undervalued, but I would be all over it if I was there. Okay, let's say I'm Philadelphia. There's a guy I would target, McCabe. Jake McCabe. If you're not going to rebuild, get some younger guys that can play both ends. And Jake McCabe is tough as nails. How long has he signed for? He signed for a couple more years. Jake McCabe is a guy I'd be identifying, trying to get, if I could. No, they're going to sign Forsberg for sure. I don't think they're going to trade Forsberg. But it's a 7-team no trade, so basically he can give 7 teams. Now, depending on how much he wants to stay in Chicago, I don't know. Like I don't know how. I kind of don't know how it works as to when. I think they go before the season. They have to put their teams in for who they won't go to. Well, that is good news for Edler and the LA Kings. But the sad part about it is Sherratt will probably get more than McCabe, and McCabe is a better player. I would be all over McCabe for a first. If I was my team, the Edmonton Oilers, for instance, if I'm Edmonton Oilers, as long as I'm not on his no trade list, and maybe I am because I'm Canadian, Yeah, who am I going to trade, though? You're going to take Duncan Keith? No. That's the bad part. No, I could trade. That's all right. We'll give you a first and who? How about a first, Warren Fogle? How about a first and Warren Fogle? Or how about Jesse Pulea? No, that would be stupid. A first and Warren Fogle, I would give you for that. Giordano is likely going to Toronto. Yes, John White. Thanks for coming in, my friend. I don't think Forsberg is getting traded. The big deals are going to be Chikrin and Giroux, and then I don't know if it's going to be a too crazy. John Weichel in the house. The culture change. Yeah. That's just basically what they're going to be, the way the direction that they're going right now. That's it. Yes, the New York Rangers picked up Vetrano. That was a beautiful move. Beautiful. Fourth round pick for Vetrano, who can score 20 to 25 goals. They needed a shooter. He's a shooter. He was buried in Florida's lineup. I thought that was a great move by the Rangers. If they got if Kako comes back and they get some young guys that beat out Petrano, it's a very tradable contract. I loved it. I thought it was a great move. He can come in, play on the second line right now, and probably bring up his point production to gain more attraction to potential suitors for him down the road. I thought that was a beautiful move by Drury. For the trade deadline or just in general, top 6 wingers that are available. I wonder. I've heard that it's possible that Victor Olofsson is available. He hasn't had a stellar year in Buffalo, but I mean, he has had a 25 goal year, didn't he? I want to say 30 goal. No, that was in 20 goal year. He has had 42, 32 points. He has been on a 50-point pace before. But I think Olofsson is available for the right price. That's one. Other looking at the bad teams. Phil Kessel, apparently not Lawson Crouse, although that's arguably top 6 or not. Pavel Zacha apparently has been made available by New Jersey. They've been having problems with consistency with him. And it sounds like he's available, probably looking for a defenseman. Detroit really doesn't have anybody of significance, I don't think, at this point. Connor Brown out of Ottawa. There was talk of Laine, but I'm almost positive he's going to sign in Columbus. The only one that would be Connor Brown. And the Montreal Canadiens, Lehkonen. Lehkonen's been having a great year. They could possibly think of selling high here, or maybe just keep him. I don't know if they can sign him, but Yuri Lehkonen would be one I'd be looking at for sure. Max Domi, yeah. Chicago Blackhawks. Oh yeah, got a kid who's having a bad year, but he's got a crazy good shot, and he did put up on a 30-goal pace, but he just went to the tank this year. And that's Kubalik. He had 30 goals in 2020, and then 38 points in 56 games last year, and now just 21 points and 11 goals this year. He is, I believe, a restricted free agent too, or is he unrestricted? He's a restricted free agent this year, and he needs a qualifying offer of over 3.7. So I can see why Chicago is looking to move him. And because of that, needing a qualifier at that and having such a bad year, I'm not so sure they're going to get all that much for him. So he would be a cheap option to see for a team that's looking for some offense. Maybe they can get a spark out of that kid. And if he doesn't work out, then you don't give him a qualifying offer and he moves on. But if he comes in on your team and he lights it up, he could be worth re-signing. It's a good move. It doesn't look like Vancouver. I mean, it looks like Vancouver is going to hold on to everybody. Besser can be traded in the offseason. I think if he's going to get traded, that's when he'll get traded. If, in fact, that's what they decide to do over JT Miller, which I'm not sure. Because I think they're gonna. I don't think anybody in Vancouver is going to get traded this year at the deadline. In the offseason, Brock Besser's contract with his contract is up, but they still own his rights. So they can tell his agent if they are planning on moving him to talk to the teams out there and see who's going to be willing to give up that kind of a price. Hey, Brian, how you doing, man? Brian in the house. Pearlo dance for you, my friend. Yeah, I've heard stuff about Campbell for Varlamov. Are you really winning a cup with Varlamov as your number one though? Really, really? We talk about it here a lot. That's why I just don't mess around with number one goaltenders. You just don't mess around with number one goaltenders. You got a number one goaltender, or you can get one. You get them. You see what Florida did last. People made fun of Florida for taking Spencer Knight and signing Bobrovsky and all of that. But if you don't have a number one worthy goaltender, you're pretty much done, regardless of what your team is in front of them. So I don't think he's good enough, Whitechel. I don't think he's good enough. And if he's probably the best there's available. So I think you're screwed, man. I really do. I think Toronto's really screwed as far. They got to hope that their goaltending can get figured out, I think. That's really all they got. All the people there without goaltenders, these teams are the ones that never draft a goaltender in the first round. The Edmonton Oilers, the Toronto Maple Leafs. You know, we never draft a goaltender in the first round. All right. Now where are you? Nobody will take Peter Mrazek, no. I don't see why, but then I said that before, and people always do. People always end up taking Peter Mrazek. I don't know why, but they end up doing it. So other wingers that could be available. This is why it seems like it's going to be not the greatest deadline. Because, I mean, Andrew Kopp maybe in Winnipeg, that would be a nice pickup for somebody. If they can't get him signed, Winnipeg looks like they're probably going to be pretty close to out of it. Let's look at teams that are completely out of it. See, Philadelphia is completely out of it, but they're not selling at the same time. So, except for Giroux. Giroux would be a top 6 winger. Like I said, Buffalo has Olofsson. I think that's it, unless you want to look at Okposo. New Jersey has said that they're not sellers, which makes sense because they don't really have anything to sell. Besides, if you want maybe Tatar or somebody like that. And like I said, yeah, well, Middleton doesn't really make a difference to anybody. So, DeBrusque, but I think they're going to keep him until the off season. And in the West, Seattle might have a couple. I don't know Seattle's weird. They signed McCann. Let's look at Seattle. Let's pick away at Seattle's roster. Giordano obviously decided that he wants to go for a cup, so he's probably gone. But they're probably not trading Jaden Schwartz, who's, again, they had the same problem as St. Louis has had the last more years. He's injured more often than not. Cal Yarncroc, I've been hearing going to Washington, which makes sense at $2 million a year. $2 million. He's going to be a free agent next year. I believe Cal Yarncroc, that's the end of his 8-year, $2 million deal that he had before. I heard Washington for Yarncroc, which is a good cheap option for Washington, I suppose. Marcus Johansson, probably, the guy moves every trade deadline. He's just your run. I mean, he's one of those utility guys that can play all over your lineup. Somebody will probably give him a shot. Oh my gosh, Cole Linda's going to be in tonight. That's not good. Wenberg is out. So there's a couple guys there. Jonas Dunskoy has had a horrible year. Mikkel Wenberg, which I wouldn't pay that much money for him. I thought that was a bad contract to begin with. But if you could maybe get Eberle out of there, he's getting 5.5. He had 34 points this year in 59 games. Normal Eberle numbers. I mean, second line winger type guy. Probably right about that, but the question, trying to figure out what Seattle is doing is beyond me. If it was me, I would be taking basically all the guys that I picked up. I'd be trying to trade for draft picks and sign more free agents until you got a core there. That's kind of what I would be doing, but it doesn't look like that's what they're doing. So, well, I mean, he said over and over again he wants out. I mean, if he's putting enough pressure on him where he's like, I don't want to be here even for a cup run, like, I don't know what happened there. But he certainly doesn't appear to be able to be there anymore. And young players have a hard time playing in Boston because they expect a lot from young players as far as lifestyle is concerned. And my bet is it's something like that that is the issue. Oh, Leafs could have Yarncroc. There's a couple teams that'll be in on Yarncroc. He'll probably get a second round pick for someone. Whoever puts in the second pick for Yarncroc will likely get him. So like a second and a fourth or something like that will likely get Yarncroc. And I think that'll be I think the Washington Capitals will be the most driven team to get Yarncroc. I think. I don't know if that's really a good idea. I wouldn't be giving up second round picks for guys like Yarncroc when you don't have goaltending. They don't have good enough goaltending to win a cup this year, so why waste the picks? And they need prospects like something fierce. You might as well go see what you can do with what you got. More than likely losing the first round. I hate to say it, but I mean, the window's closing. And then next year, you got to find a goaltender better than Samsonov. And I don't know where you're going to find that, but it's got to happen. I don't know if Yanni Gord he could be traded, I suppose. He's had injury issues as well. Trying to figure out what Francis is going to do is unbelievable. Like, part of me thinks he's just going to keep these guys. And, if you want to stay here, you can stay here. If you want to move on, you can move on. And I just think that's a wrong way to do it. You gave these guys a lot of money. You need draft picks. You need to get as many prospects as you possibly can. I would be moving guys like Gord and all of those guys for sure. I don't know what I don't even think Gord has maybe that'll help me understand what he's doing. I think Yanni Gord is injured right now, though, isn't he? He's been injured for a while, too. No, he's in. 35 points. He's not a classic second-line center. He's got a moderate no movement clause. That submits a 22-team trade list. So, yeah. If they're going to trade him now, he's got an NTC. He's got a no trade clause. But after that, he's got a moderate no trade clause. And what's his cap hit? Should tell you what the cap hit is here. $5 million. 28 years old. I don't know. He's not really a classic second line center, really. Like, he's kind of that tweener all over the market. 35 points he has 35 points in 53 games on a team that played him a lot of minutes, but he didn't have much to work with. He does have 23. No, that was McCann. 13 goals. I'm sure somebody out there would use him, and he's till 2025. That's pretty expensive. Boston could use Yanni Gourde, but I mean, he's pretty expensive. That's on the pricey side, I would say. However, teams needing centers, they're probably going to give something like that up for him. I mean, they would get some value from somebody for sure. Tyler Benson on waivers. Man, oh man. That guy just cannot stay in the NHL. Ah, it hasn't come up yet on my feeds. Oh yeah, placed on waivers. Matthew Pearlo placed on waivers too. I think somebody will pick up Benson. I think somebody could actually pick up Benson, but then on the other hand, they could then use him in a trade. That might be part of it. Because once he goes through waivers, he doesn't have to go through waivers again. So I'm thinking that the Oilers are, you're going to use guys like Benson. The Oilers are going to make a deal. There's no doubt about that. It's just a question of what and for who. No, especially when Shore is still up. Tell me really how this coach has been all that much different than Tippett. He's basically played the same kind of lines. Edmonton has looked better. Maybe in like his voice and the way he encourages guys, they have looked like they've had some jump and they're playing with more confidence. And that's really what a coach is supposed to do. So in that way, I would say, but as far as how he deploys his people, it's basically the same as Tippett was. There's some rumors here for you. Asking price high for Middleton. Jacob Middleton. Meanwhile, despite an injury, the Winnipeg Jets are seriously considering a trade that would move Andrew Kopp. So Andrew Kopp could be available. Okay, so yeah, they are on Jacob Middleton. A hefty price for Middleton. The ask is a second-round pick plus another prospect. Wow. That is high. Holy crap. St. Louis Blues, Flames, Carolina, and St. Louis for Sherratt. Jacob Pelletier. from Calgary is the one that the Canadians are interested. I don't. They really like that Pelche kid. I don't think that they're going to give him up for Sherratt. Maybe I'm wrong, but Wild likely to trade McBain. A team who has been connected to Sherratt have a prospect that they could dangle. That is getting some interest around the NHL, Drager said. 6'3" college center from Boston College has made it clear to the Wild he will not be signing with the organization and plans to test his luck on the unrestricted free agent market, which is why I don't understand why people would be trading for him. I just don't see that happening. Why would they do that? Jacob Middleton's good, but I don't know if he's a second round pick and a prospect good. Yeah, I think the Bruins. I think I'm leaning the Bruins on that game. I don't like the fact that they're on a back-to-back, but Talbot has just been so bad, and Swayman's going to be in net for Boston. So Boston could actually get outshot and still win that game. So I'm leaning Boston in that game for sure. I'm more interested in what Boston's going to do for the future here now. To me, it's one of the most intriguing teams out there. Yeah, that ticked me off that the Leafs won that game. The kid gets a freaking shutout. I'm more interested in what they're going to do for the future there in Boston. Like, really, what do you think they should do, Brian? They got to go one way or the other. I think that's what I'm always trying to say here. The last thing a team should do is go no direction. Like this, try to get draft picks, but then try to be good. Boston, yeah, Jacob Middleton, I could see that. If they're going to do it this year, do it. Go big, because they are not beating Carolina, Florida, or whatever the way they are. JT Miller, like big. Load up and go. That's what I say. If there's any team out there right now that should be knocking everything out of the park this year, it's the Boston Bruins. Load up and freaking go. They need defensemen, bad. They need a second line center, bad. Throw everything you got at it. No, either that or choose to say, you know what, we're not good enough. We're not going to be good enough, and we don't want to move our prospects because we're likely heading for a rebuild, and that's just going to make the rebuild longer. But pick one side. Poop or get off the pot. Do one thing or the other. And it's going to be interesting to see if Boston does that. Yeah, the Kraken might not score enough, and Lightning have been playing very defensive on the road. It makes sense. Welcome in, Doug. Thank you for coming in, my friend. But I think Boston likely wins tonight. Probably, yeah. Maybe Kraken team total under 3. If you could, I don't know, or under 2.5 or something like that. That wouldn't be a bad idea. Might think about throwing a little bit of that in there. Look at New Jersey over 2 goals. It's probably a push, but they could do it. And it's not very likely that they won't score 2. They've been scoring lots all year, and it's getting It's paying out at minus 110. Not too bad. Or it was anyways. I don't know what it's at now, but I think that's not a bad look. I'm just going to grab a coffee, guys. I'll be right back. There we go. That's a good question. I think after that loss to Colorado, they're gonna want to redeem themselves. I think Sutter is going, like, they don't want to snowball Calgary. Calgary is a huge momentum team. They're not stacked as a team. I mean, Giroux has been amazing this year. Markstrom has been amazing, but they are a team that really needs to keep momentum going in order to be successful. And they gotta, like, they're a team that they don't have the superstars they can rely on in bad games. This is a team that has to remain focused and really build some intimidation in the league. So when you go into Calgary, they're building that reputation right now. They lost to Colorado. It was a bad spot, but the fact is they lost. So this isn't an overlook spot. They got Buffalo after this. There is a possibility they get a little sleepy because of that. Oh, 2 easy games. Like, finally we get some time to maybe not have to be so intense. I hope that's not the case. But so far this season, it hasn't been the case. Like, this has been a team that has played at a solid pace and found ways to challenge themselves all the time. So, yeah, it's a bad spot for New Jersey. They're in a back-to-back. There's one factor, and I don't even want to tell this to the universe. There's one factor that concerns me with this game, and that is that Gillies is an ex-Flame. And how many times have you seen it that a team plays the ex-goaltender that there is issues with them? I don't know. I think it's psychological that they're friends with the guy, and the next thing you know, they're not really pressing down to score. You know what I mean? Like, you don't have that desire as much. However, with Gillies, he did play in the minors most of the time while he was up there. So it might not have built up like this huge relationship with everybody there, except for guys like Mangiapane and maybe Shylington, who's not playing tonight, you know. But I got to stick with the idea that his save percentages, his goals against average is over 350, and his save percentage is like 857. So, yeah, it could be one of those spots, but all the other things push to Calgary winning that game fairly handily. So, I'm just going with that. Florida hit me hard yesterday. The Rangers putting Georgiev in hit me hard yesterday. Yeah, and he's going to get paid too, I hear. Calgary's got a deal in place already for him, so he's staying there. Yeah, the next talk is Giroux going to the Panthers, and it just doesn't make any sense to me. I know they just traded Vetrano, but I don't think they traded Vetrano. They're stacked to get another winger. I think they traded Vetrano so Tippett could come up. Maybe. That's a pretty good price. I think they'll destroy Vegas tomorrow. The Vetrano trade, I think possibly Vetrano was the one that asked to be moved there. But it does make it a little weird now because they kind of need Tippett now. Who was the guy that was supposed to be in the deal for Chychrun? Now, if it's Giroux, maybe then they get Chychrun too. Then maybe it makes some sense, I guess. But they're going to be giving up a hell of a lot of prospects for this. Where's Florida? Where's Florida? Florida. Nashville, New Jersey, New York. Florida. So if they get, well, they got Joe Thornton on the left side now. Woo, what the heck? I guess Joe Thornton's coming back in the lineup. So you got Mason Marchment there too. Giroux plays left. Mason Marchment's got a point a game this year. They don't even miss a beat. They trade Vetrano, and they still got Horquist, Duclair, Reinhardt, and Verhaeghe on the right-hand side. So you're telling me you're going to go get Giroux now? And push Thornton out of the lineup? That is and then you still got, I think anyways, you still got to find that Chychrun guy if you can get him. If they did find a way to get Giroux and get Chychrun, wow, man. That would be one hell of a roster. But it's also a lot of movement in a short amount of time. I think they need you get two of those a game after it's 2 minutes. No, the Leafs won't beat the Panthers. I don't think the Leafs will beat the Panthers in the playoffs. No, not likely. But I don't know. It's weird for them to go for Giroux. It really is. But I'll tell you, that lineup would be just top. Oh, it would be crazy. And I'm hearing the guy that goes back for Giroux is Tippett. So they get a young winger in Tippett that, could potentially be a 30-goal scorer. But guess what? He's got skating problems. What is it with Philadelphia Flyers and loving players with skating issues? I don't know. But that doesn't, I mean, the deal hasn't happened yet. So let's not go all half-cocked out there. But that's what I heard. Now, that is just a heard. I don't know. I imagine they would get their first round pick if it's Giroux. Does Florida even have their first? I believe they do. No, they don't. They don't have their first. So it would be a Tippett plus something. I don't know. How's Owen Tippett? How's he doing in the minors? Oh, he's got 18 points in 12 games in the minors. That's good. So he went down to the minors and he just crushed it. The guy's got 30-goal scorer possibility. So Ben Sherratt is interested. Well, that would be something. The Boston Bruins. Well, Boston, St. Louis, Calgary apparently has interest. I think St. Louis wins that. Yeah, he has some say, but I think if he's going to Toronto, he'll be pretty happy about that. I could be wrong. He may want to stay out west. I mean, I don't know somebody's life choices. I know he's from Toronto. And I would think that he would be interested in going there, you would think. But some players don't like playing in their hometowns. And, maybe he should be used to the media in Calgary. I mean, it's not as crazy in Calgary as Toronto, but it's still a pretty high media. You're sick and tired of delay of game penalties? Doug. Who's Doug? Doug. Well, I mean, what are they? You're talking about the shooting over the glass penalty? I don't know what else they can do about that, though. That's the thing. Because I don't know if you remember when the people used to do it on purpose. It was far more annoying to watch that. That was absolutely brutal. I possibly going back to Calgary. Yeah, I mean, I think Toronto is going to be the place, though. Yeah, I mean, Fleury was, and apparently Fleury doesn't want to be traded at the deadline now. So wait till next year. But I mean, that was just stupid. Anybody thinking, I talked to people on the Facebook chat rooms and stuff when I was doing the Fleury trade, and people say, oh, he's over the hill. You know, I was like, you haven't been watching Fleury this year. That guy is just no, he's the same as he always was. He just stops pucks like unbelievable. Unbelievable. And last night was a perfect sign of it. Giordano's 38. I think you meant to say 38. I mean, could he go back to Calgary? I think they got that Shilington guy now, unless he's going to be injured long term. It doesn't. I don't know. Like, it doesn't really make sense if you let him go already to bring him back now. They got Shylington playing. They got to give him playoff experience. I don't think George Calgary being an option to go back there. My gut feeling says nah. That just doesn't make sense. He's I think he's 38 now, Giordano. 37 or 38. Make sure everybody's tapping that like button. We got lots of people coming in. Give them a big round of applause. A little Pearlo dance for little Ann. There you go. Giordano is 38. 23 points in 55 games for a 38-year-old on a bad team. Not too shabby. Minus 21, but that doesn't really mean all that much. He had a fine year for how bad of a team that is. I thought Giordano had a good year. He's not going to be that shutdown guy you want, but he's not bad. Like, he's good enough. And I don't know what else is out there for Toronto. That's what people, I think we don't understand. We don't understand. And I would love to know, when a lot of these deals are made, what was available to you? Like, people, I after a trade is made, like say Toronto picks up Giordano, and everybody's like, well, we didn't need Giordano, we needed this guy, this guy, this guy, this guy. Well, how do you know they didn't even want to go there? You know? How do we not, we don't even know, like, Giordano might have been the only one that wanted to come to Toronto. So you're going to take no defenseman because you wanted a Sherratt type person, or, something like that, who wasn't coming to Toronto no matter how hard you tried? Those are the things I would love to know, is what were the options when you did what you did. That's like when, Edmonton grabbed Duncan Keith from Chicago. There's a very good possibility that no other defenseman wanted to come to Edmonton at all. And they had a choice of either taking Duncan Keith and his experience and all that stuff like that, or getting nothing at all. And probably not win. They're not probably. It doesn't make him win a cup to have Giordano. No. But he played well enough this year that you could play him again next year too. You could have him again next year too. How would he fit in? I think he's a left defense. Is he a lefty or a righty? What am I doing? Shadow. He's a left defenseman. I don't think that's what Toronto is looking for, really, is it? Yeah, they got Brody and Riley, so yeah. I don't think that makes much sense for Toronto, actually. Yeah. They need a right defenseman more than anything. Yeah, he's a left defenseman, so I think they need a right defenseman more than anything, because they already got Brody, so maybe that doesn't work. Now, again, going back to Calgary, I don't think that makes sense. So now you're looking at maybe the Boston Bruins. maybe the New York Rangers to get a little bit of experience. Again, he's got to agree to anything like this too. Wherever he decides to go, he's got to agree with it. Maybe if Florida falls out of the Chikrin sweepstakes, Florida, get a nice little retirement place there in Florida. Maybe he goes for a cup, and I could see, like, remember last year, Tampa Bay did that move, but they're stacked on the left side. They don't need anybody on the left side. Jake Muzzin is a right defenseman, right? They so need Muzzin back too. Toronto is like dying without Muzzin in their lineup. Ever since he left, they haven't been the same. That tells you how great of a defenseman he is, for sure. Yeah, Muzzin will just take his normal spot beside Riley. Ilya Bushkin's playing way too high in the lineup there. And then, Hall will play in the bottom pairing. That's all that happens there, really. Philadelphia Flyers have traded a defender or will trade a defender? Are you talking about maybe Yandel? Yandel could be traded, but it won't matter. Oh, San Jose Sharks are closing in on a long-term extension with Thomas Hertl. They're going to sign Hertl to an 8-year deal. Hertl, you're freaking crazy. Why the heck would you want to stay in San Jose for the next 8 years? So there's a guy off the block. Hertl is going to be gone now. Is going to be signed by the San Jose Sharks, apparently. So that's a guy off the block, which makes it even more likely that this will be a lighter trade deadline, but we'll see. So Hertl's off the block. I really thought that, you know what? That's why. Should have known San Jose started playing better. And that energy came from them hearing, because they hear it long before we do. Leafs Addict, how you doing, buddy? We were just talking about the Leafs and possibility of Giordano going there, but the more I look at it, the more it doesn't really make sense that he would go to Toronto. Is he gonna? If he does go to Toronto, he's gonna be like a 7th defenseman. I just, and that's probably gonna be like Dermott and a pick or something like that. So, but he gets to go to Toronto, and he lived in Toronto. I don't think it's, and I know we're gonna say, well, they need goaltending, but they're not getting. Dude, they could re-sign Giordano too. And he could give her a go next year as well. But they're not. Toronto's not getting the goaltending they need this year. They're not. Is Jake Muzzin a lefty too? I thought Jake Muzzin was a right defenseman. I was positive of that. Oh, he is a left defenseman. Shit. So Brody goes to the right. That's all. Brody can play both sides. TJ Brody. So if they're not interested in playing Sandin in the playoffs, I guess they could bring. And Sandin can play the right side apparently. I don't know which one he plays better. Is he a left-handed defenseman? He shoots left. Okay, yeah. Generally, you want your left defenseman playing on the left side. I know when I played, it was a bugger. Shoots left. Yeah, they got a lot of lefties playing the right side there in Toronto. I mean, Seattle might do that. Personally, I am not a fan of Dermott or Hull. So, I mean, depending on what the pick is, I guess. For me, it's like I would just rather have the pick, thanks. I don't really need Dermott and Hull. You know, unless I can find somebody that likes them and trade them away. Maybe I can get like 3 middle round picks for Giordano. That'd be great. Yeah, Lyabushkin will probably be there for the playoffs with them. Yeah, he's a little too young to be playing with a guy like Rasmus Sandin for sure. You got to take up a lot of the slack with Riley to really make allow Riley to be what he needs to be. Sandin's probably not the best guy yet. I think he will be though. I really do think Sandin's going to crush it down the road for sure. Was he great with Riley? I think that's just Toronto fans really not having how do I put this? I think that's Toronto fans watching Hull play a lot. He's definitely greater. He was okay. He's definitely greater than Hull, that's for sure. But he can't keep up for a full game like that. You can't play Lyabushkin in that spot over and over and over again. Yeah, he's greater. You can't play him in that spot over and over and over again, unfortunately. That will be Sandin's spot in the future, I think. I really do like Sandin. And honestly, I would say that Toronto's done really well to help him with this progression. Considering he played as much as he did this young, I think. Yeah, Liljegren, he's got a lot of great tools, but he was a slow burn. Like it's only at a necessity you would play him that high. It's just I think he's going to be really good. He's actually improved a lot this year. And I think he's going to be a very good, solid defenseman. But at this stage, he's not ready for that type of role yet. He's got a lot to learn. Oh, Wayne Simmons didn't play? Okay. I didn't know that. Was he injured or what? Yeah, I mean, oh, Wayne's injured? Okay, I was just looking that up. Oh, they had him as a scratch, but he must be injured. Okay. Sprained thumb. Okay. Yeah. All right. Yeah, I was surprised they signed Clifford. That guy must be one heck of a guy in the room, I'll tell you that. Kyle Clifford, he must be like a room monster because he gets contracts over and over and over again. And he doesn't really give you, I mean, he doesn't really hurt you on the ice, but he doesn't really give you much. And Robertson, yeah. I think Robertson is playing for the purpose of uh, maybe using him in a deal or something like that. They want to get people to get a good look at him. Is it Peter Mrazek playing hurt? Maybe. That would explain a lot. I mean, but he does that all the time, though. John has done it his whole career. So, has he always been playing hurt? Like he always shows those consistency issues. Seems like a great guy. Yeah, yeah. He's got to be one of those guys that just uplifts players a lot. And I know he works his bag off everything he does, and that always helps. It always helps when you have a guy that works his bag off every time he plays. Yeah, that's the thing. Campbell was playing hurt. He had that rib injury. Yeah, well, he's been inconsistent his whole career, Campbell. But I don't know. Maybe in this case, it's just the rib injury. I don't even know how you play with a rib injury because, man, like a lot of things you do are going to hurt your ribs. Like, my gosh, taking the puck in the ribs would hurt your ribs. Just that alone. Just that alone would hurt your ribs. Yeah, I mean, Leafs fans better hope that that's the case because if it's not, boy. Anyways, guys, I think I'm going to call her here now. That's 2 hours we've been on. This has been great. Thanks for coming on. Uh, I'm working on a video. Okay, I did. Tell me a guy, a big name. Give me a big name you could see being traded, like a big guy. Maybe not at the deadline. Uh, is Craig Anderson going to win you any cups or anything? Like, I don't know. I'm hearing Craig Anderson's going to go somewhere, but where and yeah, I mean, let's hope that's what it was. If it is, then maybe Campbell can hit a good run and get back to where he was before. I don't know why they would take Craig Anderson in Toronto. I don't know. But I'm going to let you go, guys. Got to go pick up the little lady. It was fun talking. You had lots of people in the chat today. Okay, Riley Smith. Do you think Kevin Fiala is going to go? They're not. Kevin Fiala is not going to go at the deadline, though. Evgeny Dadonov. Yeah. You're thinking when Stone comes back, right? They got to trade Riley Smith or Dadonov. I don't see anybody taking Dadonov. With that trade that Minnesota made for Jost, though, you know, it kind of shows you that they're looking to get younger. Trading Kevin Fiala now would be just like the death knell to say, we know we're not ready. We got to keep on building. And I think it might be the right thing to do. But we'll see if they actually do it. I got to let you guys go. That's my full 42. Have a great day, everybody. Thanks for coming in. I'll try to be in tomorrow, too. I'm going to Pearlo dance you out here. Take care, everybody. Lots of love to you. Okay, bye.